Welcome to my podcast.
Also, welcome to the podcast. It's also mine. Picture like a little jingle with some slides going across.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, but I don't think so.
Today we're drinking Fremont's Baxter Cold IPA. And we're going to do the Elysian Hazy.
Yes.
And this is not to continue delaying that.
Why would you even bring that up? God.
Well, I just wanted to make, like, because...
No, not you, them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I get it. Last week you said we were going to do it this week, and here we are. It was because I was like, man, it started snowing.
Yes.
And it's cold today in fucking April, mid-April. And so I was like, I better drink a cold IPA.
Yeah. I agree
That's
with
my
that.
entire reasoning.
I 100 million % agree with that.
Because, like, if I was going to just try to delay the Elysian,
Sure.
we have the Veil Breaker series that we still need to do. So, like, if I was just trying to delay, I would just do that. But, like,
We need to do that one too.
yeah, it's cold.
I actually also have Fifth City at my house too.
Yeah.
So there's that
There's
as well.
a lot of stuff.
There are things.
But Baxter.
I
I love this can design as it's like teal and
Mm.
pink and purple. The classic hop of this series.
Yeah.
The series is for four-legged friends. And I'm going to say dogs specifically. I don't like cats, but I mean, maybe cats.
We typically just refer to them as the name, their name beers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm just, context.
Ollie, Milo, Baxter.
So this beer has some two-row pale malts, has some other kind of malts, also
Probably.
added some corn flakes
Whoa.
to the, I think that's what the technical term, right? Corn flakes, not like the cereal, but what do they call it?
Yeah, I would call them corn
Flaked
flakes.
corn.
Sure.
Pilsner malts is the other one. Flaked corn added to the mash. Citra hops, cryo citra hops, centennial hops, and strata. Yeah, strata. And then yeast. I don't know what it is, but I do know that it is more than likely a lager yeast. So we were right. And that is what makes it a cold IPA.
I was about to ask you about that, actually.
Known as an IPL, an India Pale Lager, which I didn't know was a thing.
Okay.
Now, there might be a difference between a cold IPA and an IPL.
That's
like
all I need.
maybe the cold IPA is a IPA that is brewed with lager yeast, but not brewed like a lager. But an IPL is a IPA, but brewed like a lager.
I retract my earlier statement. Welcome to Levi's podcast. I have so many questions that I don't even need to ask. He just has the answers now for them.
And then some of the aspects of a cold IPA is introducing things like flaked corn, other things to the mash, as well as hop timing. I don't know enough about brewing lagers to know why that's an especially big deal for cold IPAs and IPLs. But that was something that was brought up. And then, the goal is to make it more like a lager, more a crisp, refreshing type IPA. So, yeah.
That would make sense, just I guess depending on their goal. So if you're talking about lagers and the hop timing of it. So average rule of thumb is the earlier you add hops, like the longer they're sitting in the boil, the more bitterness you're going to get out of them and the less like aromatic juiciness you're going to get out of them. And like the later you add them, so if they're only in there for like 10 minutes, then you're going to get less bitterness and just more of that like floral juiciness stuff. So, yeah.
Would you get more like the syrupy texture the longer that you leave them in, though?
No.
Because I think this was talking about adding the hop, like there's certain types of hops that are added towards the end.
it could play a part in it because they're also talking about cryo hops in this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a whole thing. Like that I'm just completely unfamiliar with. So like the timing of when you had cryo hops could be like drastically different results of like normal hops or even pellets. So yeah, I am unsure as well. But that's interesting. I have never talked with any of the brewers at E9, but I would like to. That's just a random factoid.
Yeah, I guess
really.
they talk about adding hops here is that they're hop forward and they use New World hops, but any IPA is going to use that. So like any traditional IPA,
right?
Like, well, I say traditional. Any like because IPAs are kind of new. Like,
well, as far as wanting them.
Yeah. Well, I just mean like in IPAs that you like anyone would pick up today are more than likely just using New World hops.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like, I guess if you're from Germany, that might not be the case, but I mean,
I'd be curious. So, judging, I haven't asked him a lot about it, but so Zach has gone to Germany for a hop convention, and all that he's talked about is like German style beers over there. So
they do say dose with dry hops at the tail end of fermentation. So
end of fermentation. Oh, so that's very interesting and different. So I wonder if that's different than dry hopping.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
there's more to research here, but like,
yeah.
Broad overview, that's the concept, and that's some of the differences between like an IPA and a cold IPA. So fun educational podcast for you today. Anyways,
I just hear jingles all the time. Like things get said throughout our podcast that I hear jingles, and
you really like we were saying nothing in the beginning, and you were saying jingle. So
yeah,
you're
I know.
On a jingle
Yeah,
mood
today
right
it's just they're rapid firing. Yeah,
Is
I guess.
it the snow?
You know, I could be. It's driving me mad. I'll tell you that much.
Jingle belling all the way home.
There it is. Yeah. God, I could not be more over this. And like, I feel like we still have like another 2 weeks of this back and forth shit before it's like consistently like high 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
I would say 2 weeks is what it feels like.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're almost there. But
like, it's nice because Washington slowly transitions into like the spring phase, which is still like fairly overcast, but the clouds sink down lower and there's separation, so you do get some sun, you get more light. Just more of a breakup in general. That's nice to see that happening. It's not just like blanket of gray and no differentiation between sky and cloud, but now you were like, oh, that's a cloud, and there's some sun over there, and then there's a lower cloud and some higher ones, and it's nice.
It helps a lot. I feel like rain's like 50-50. Like, I feel like most of the rain we get is ironically just during the winter.
Well, it's like we get two different kinds of rain. Like during the winter, you have rain that like can go on for days, weeks at a time.
Yes.
And it's like, it's not very heavy, but it's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Like everything's just wet.
Yeah.
Right now you have more of like what everyone else is used to when they say rain. It's like, oh, it rained an hour and then it stopped. And, and then like maybe a couple hours later you see a break in sun. Like that's like normal people.
Exactly. That's a very accurate representation there.
And it rains like harder just for a short period of time.
Yeah.
But like the winter, when you go, like, I think there was a couple winters where like we hit 31, 32 days of rain, or it's just kind of like hittering down forever.
Yeah. This past, I think it was January. It was like, it was pretty much every single day of January was just rain. It was hard.
Yeah. Because you don't want to go outside. You don't want to do anything. It's just,
And it's not like, we always contrast that to like Illinois where it'll like be even snowing and sunny outside. Like that just doesn't happen here. Like if for the most part, if we're getting weather, it's overcast. And then when that weather stops, the sun might peek out. But so when you're getting like 20, 30 straight days of rain, you just like don't see the sun then. It gets lighter
Lots
outside, but it's about it.
Yeah.
Gosh. I had only tried this. I haven't opened any at my house. I've only had it that one night here. And I forgot how good this was.
I think it's not my favorite of the series.
Agreed.
But I like it.
I think the Ollie has been my favorite, the first one.
I think Ollie was super good. It was just like really crisp and hoppy, and
they were locked in on that one.
Yeah.
Milo's pretty good too, but definitely more Northwest, like more malty for sure.
You taste that a bit in this one too.
Yes, yeah. This one compared to the other two, I think just in general is more juicy in like a fruity way.
Yeah, because it has Citra and Cryo Citra.
Oh yeah.
So and then like that Centennial, I think adds like that wet kind of like malty-esque hopness to it. So you have that like Northwest juice vibe going.
Yeah.
Not a bad way.
No.
Just not. I think it just kind of ends toward like it's less crisp than it is like, and I would prefer, but
yeah, I'm not dying to have this again. But let me contrast that with I would buy it again.
Yeah,
and I would drink like 3 of these in a night for sure. Like playing video games, it could definitely like feel good on some of these.
Our
7%?
standard, yeah. Well, I mean, it's not too bad.
Well, I'm thinking like 3 of them, so that like playing video games, you're like, oh yeah.
You're probably not playing Warzone by the end of that. You're probably like on a Minecraft.
You're not playing Warzone very well.
Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah.
Our typical party example. If I saw Baxter at a party, I'd be stoked.
Oh yeah. Yep.
W.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
100%. Man. Speaking of Warzone, I really can't get over the fact like how fun that was the other night or a few nights ago.
We had a good time.
Yeah, like I was thoroughly impressed. I don't know what it was when we played like a month ago where we were just like instantly just like turned off to it. And I don't know if it was just because it was like our first time in it and it was just so jarring, like how different it was to Verdansk. Or...
For me, it wasn't too jarring that time. I think you had a worse time than I did.
Yeah.
I think that there's been a lot of good changes with like combining the modes. There's not just this weird Vanguard. Like I do think there is Vanguard mode still, but I think generally they've kind of just
that's true
shied away from that entirely and focused more on like the like classic Warzone, like has all the old vehicles, all the guns and stuff.
Yeah,
which is nice because it doesn't feel like there's this huge rift.
Yeah,
and then I think just the fact, like at least for me, being able to go back and forth between like because I don't love Caldera as much, being able to just go back and forth between Caldera and Rebirth. I'm like, what do we want to play it now?
Yeah,
it used to be like. Didn't really like Rebirth because I love Verdansk so much, and then it was like I don't like Caldera at all. But now I feel like Caldera, after playing it a few times, some of the changes that have been made, I'm like, oh, I kind of like it. And so I was like, what do we want to do?
Yeah, I also feel like even before Caldera came out, Warzone was on a huge downfall with Cold War, so it was like Verdansk, but like. Cold War guns are meta and like way OP, and so even at that point you're like, I guess we'll play Rebirth because like I'm certainly not gonna play multiplayer. Like the fuck.
Yeah.
But now with Vanguard, like and Caldera being out, like I don't know what it is, but like I kind of attribute a little bit to like having like a shit ton of available guns now.
Another change that they made, I think, between the time we played last and this time was that one of the combinations that they did with combining the modes is that even like all Caldera modes now have 200 health instead of 150 health.
Oh.
So the time to kill is longer,
Ah, that's interesting.
which I think lends itself to better gameplay and
I think
like
so too.
like A, requires you to have more skill
Yeah.
in like your gunfights, and then B, like I hated Caldera. You're like running through the jungle. It's really hard to see. Like that was the other thing that helped you is switching onto a monitor.
Yeah. Oh god.
But it could be really hard to see with all the fucking bushes and foliage.
Yeah.
And then you just get like fucking annihilated and you have no time to react. There's no cover anywhere, like contrasting to Verdansk where you're like in buildings fighting. So like there's a lot of cover, you're playing angles and stuff. Here you're like running out in the field generally.
You got to play the geography. It's interesting.
Yeah.
You really didn't experience a lot of that. I shouldn't say none, but you didn't experience a lot of that in Verdansk.
And with the longer time to kill, I feel like, okay, now I have time to react and move, get behind a tree or rock or whatever. So,
well, that's crazy too, right? Like even with Caldera, like in Verdansk, a tree and a rock would not do it for you.
yeah.
But now you and the team you're fighting, that's all you have. So like the playing field's kind of leveled in that regard. So it's like a tree can be just enough for you to win the gunfight.
Yeah, it used to be like you or the team you were fighting were sitting in a building and you were trying to like figure out how to get into the cover of that building.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you're like chilling behind a rock and you're like, well, I'm fucking stuck until like something happens here.
Till a miracle.
Exactly. So yeah, the playing field's kind of a little bit more leveled out in that regard. Yeah, all around. Great experience.
I'm liking it more.
Yeah, me too.
I think it also contributes to like not playing as much. So it's like a little more casual, like just get on, have fun.
Agreed. I totally agree. Yeah, I don't know. I also feel like you and I both kind of just got in a zone where we were like both doing pretty decent.
Yeah.
That was good.
I could probably play today. Yesterday, Sal texted and I was like, I just got done with my workout and I was like, no shot.
Nah, not happening.
I was literally like, I want to sit down and just like hydrate for an hour and a half. And like, I showered. And then I was like, I don't just want to sit down and hydrate for an hour and a half. And then I'm like, gonna want a beer.
Yeah,
like, I'm so like just fucking chilling out. Like, yeah.
Like, I'm gonna have a snack and then probably go to bed. That's about it. No, I feel that.
It was my first time. So I started functional fitness, CrossFit bullshit. And last week into this week, this was my fourth workout yesterday. And I didn't feel like death.
Nice. Yeah, that is a good feeling. Well, and it's like when you're exhausted and you're like, I'm not dead. That's a good feeling because you're like, I can feel that I got a good workout in, but at the same time, I'm not like I can walk up my stairs when I get home.
Yeah. Well, and like when you're going from not doing cardio to however many years to like doing an intense workout like that. Because like I've been doing lifting and stuff, but not like that kind of workout.
Yeah.
But you know, you go like your warm up is like some hard time on a bike and doing like various like stretches and movements and like semi workout type movements and stuff. And then like when you're out of shape, that's a workout.
Oh yeah.
Spend 5 minutes on one of those like resistant air bike things. It's like,
yikes.
Not used to this.
Dude, I know. When I go to the climbing gym, I like my arms, I can just like go for it. Like it's not great. It's better to like have them warmed up a bit, but like my legs, especially, like, oh my gosh, if I don't warm up my legs, I'm gonna like have a cramp like mid climb, and it's like this is not good. So bare minimum, I'll do a warm up on the treadmill at like the highest incline, walking like 3 miles an hour, and after like 10 minutes of that, I'm like, wow, I need to do this more.
Well, and like it'll take several times, but eventually you'll be like, okay, my warm up is like my legs feel good and ready now, not like I'm fucking dying.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
And this was the first time where I was like, I did the warm up and I was like, okay, I feel good. I feel ready for my workout, and I did the workout, and I wasn't like fucking just like I was exhausted, obviously, because it's fucking CrossFit. You just go hard for whatever the workout is, but I wasn't like, I'm gonna die.
No, I had an experience of that freshman year of high school. The last time I played football, and my God, I mean, so my first, obviously being a freshman, first experience in high school football, and it's like anything before high school is fun.
Yeah.
Once you hit high school, and it's not just football, any sport.
Yeah,
like
true.
anything before high school is just pretty fun. Like, not saying it doesn't take any work, but it's fun. Once you hit high school, it's no longer just fun. You have some fun sometimes, but it is so much fucking work. And I'm sure wrestling, like conditioning for wrestling, I can't even imagine, because it's more conditioning than football, especially as a lineman. Like I got a good conditioning in, but not wrestling conditioning.
They're like, we don't even want you to run, really. Like,
honestly,
if you could just keep getting bigger. Like,
yeah, like in fact, it's pretty prohibited under a lot of plays. So maybe don't run at all. No, but I mean, I still very vividly today, I remember my first day of 2 days, and fuck me hard, dude. It was like, you'd get there at like 7 a.m. and they're like, well, let's run. I'm like, I haven't really done any of that like all summers. And not jog. Oh, run, not just jog. Run. Okay. Okay, yeah, cool. All right, awesome. Okay. And just an hour for lunch. Well, I'm like fucking pooped, and I'm gonna throw up if I eat anything.
And we have a whole other thing.
Yeah, like after this. So like I guess I'll have a granola bar. And then now we're just running again. Got it. Cool. So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I was never gonna be ready for that amount of conditioning. And so I absolutely almost passed out, and I did puke out of dehydration. So that was a great time.
Yeah, but it does feel good. Like, you do that a few times, and you're like, oh, now my body is adjusted. Like, that was what I felt like on Monday. I was like, okay, my body's starting to like fucking become accustomed to, like, I mean, it only took 4 times, but
right.
Still, it was like super painful last week, and then I started off this week, and I was like, okay, I feel good.
Well, that was freshman year, like my prime, like physical conditioning and like strength, like fitness, Yeah. And so even that just took like two a days, so 4 workouts, until I was finding like, okay,
my body's used to this.
Yes, it's
We're
not
adjusting.
easy, but
No.
but I am used to this now. Got it.
So yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, man, it's rough starting.
And I'm back at it tomorrow.
True. That's it for most things. And like, I feel like we've talked about this before, but no matter what it is, like doing anything when you're just like not motivated for it, it is just like takes everything within you to get there. But once you're there, you're like so glad you're there. Like, you're never going to be just like upset at yourself that you did it. You're always going to be upset at yourself when the times you didn't. So,
and just like, it's good practicing getting over like the anxiety of doing something for the first time.
Absolutely.
Because like, I signed up for this. Don't know anybody at the gym.
Yeah.
Never been there before. No idea what to expect.
Yep.
I don't really know the workouts. I don't know the exercises. It's a beginner's class, but I'm like, I don't know how hard it's going to be. I don't know who's going to be there. I don't know who's teaching me. I don't have friends that go there. Like,
you've never done like this type of workout. So yeah, it's a completely different experience for you. Yeah.
And so like, it was like pretty anxious, like going there last Monday. I mean, like, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you just do it and you're like, fine.
No, 100%. Yeah.
No reason. Like, it's always funny, like leading up to something, you have so much anxiety about doing it. And then when you like just do it, you're like, well, of course. Yeah. Well, then afterwards you like are rational about it. You're like, of course. Yeah, of course. That was stupid.
Like, duh. Like, like I just went there and did the thing, like everybody else there was doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, beforehand, you're just like, no thanks.
And like, I'm sure when I move out of the like class that I'm in, go to like sign up for the workouts and stuff, like that's also going to have anxiety to it. Like,
It'll probably be,
what's my first workout going to be? I'm not going to know these exercises.
It'll probably be easier though, because like at least
Oh, sure.
now you have experienced something like that.
Yeah.
I think like I'll equate it to like when I signed up for my climbing gym in Illinois, and it was the same thing. It was like, I don't know anybody. I'm like, I don't know this building. Like I've never been here before. And you know, sure enough, get there. I'm like, oh yeah, just climb. And then I like met people. I'm like, okay, cool. So then coming here and doing it is same thing, but like I at least had that experience now from already doing something similar. So it's like, sure, I'm still not going to know anybody, but like I've been here before. So there's still some anxiety tied to it, but definitely not as much.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Like for me, will be to see if I like meet people and make friends.
No, totally. Yeah.
Because I don't like people.
Fair enough. I have not met a single person at Edgeworks yet. In Illinois, I felt like it was pretty quickly that I met some people.
I'm like the kind of person who like meets people, but it doesn't go any farther than that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I require somebody, and it's super hypocritical, but like I require somebody approaching me and making that first move. Once you've talked to me, I will decide if I like you. And I feel like you and I both have like very we trust our guts, because our guts are typically pretty accurate on like
intuition. Yeah.
Yes, about like a type of person. And so so I decide, I'm like, oh, you're cool. Then like I will pursue that friendship with that person, and then it's easy. But it's like I don't know how to initiate that conversation with somebody, and then also decide if I want, like, because that's the other thing too. I'm like, I don't want to like initiate someone with somebody and then find out I don't like them. I'm like,
I think so. I think this is something like I had to learn, because I was pretty like shy as a kid and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But going through the various jobs that I've had over the years, and especially my job now, like I blind call clients, like big clients, like, you know,
NFL sports teams,
blind, no introduction. Right. I'm like, you know, like I some days that's just like what my job is. And it's like, got to call them.
Yep.
Don't know you at all.
Yep.
Don't know anything about you. Nothing.
Yep.
But it just is what it is. And I mean, luckily in this, I've had positions that are very similar where I've just had to learn that. And now it's like pretty secondhand nature for me. But like, that's how I feel like going to like gyms and stuff. It was all, that's a skill I've had to learn. And it is a skill, by the way. Like some people, it comes naturally to them, but other people have to learn it. Still a skill. So I have that part down, but like moving past like introduction and faux like bullshit like that, I'm like, I don't really have a lot of interest in it. I'm just not a super, I'm a friendly person, but I'm not a friends person. So
no, absolutely. Like you were down to like meet a bunch of people one night and hang out with them and have a great night and then never see them ever again.
Correct.
And you have your close group of friends, but like as far as like recurring instances, like it's just that close group, like not trying to branch out a whole lot outside of that. And I think there's I personally see that as a good thing. I think you see, I don't see a lot of cons to that personally.
I think the cons is like, you know, when we like, because eventually we'll want to be in Florida for a significant amount of time.
Sure.
That'll be hard for me.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the meeting thing. I'm just talking about like wanting a close group of friends.
No, I know, but I mean like if I'm in Florida for say 4 months out of the year.
Yeah.
I'll probably want friends there.
I would hope so, yeah.
Right? So like that will be hard, is like figuring out how to like have a group of friends that I like from nothing.
Right. Well, that's a fair point. I was looking at it contrasting to the people who like overextend themselves and have too many friends.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I feel like that type of person just continuously lets other people down because they overbook themselves because there's too many people that they're trying to care for. And it's like, it's not a bad thing. You just can't care for everybody,
True.
So like you only have so much time.
You only have so much time, and it's not even caring for other people. Like at some point, it's just like they are your close friends, they are your family, and you spend time with close friends and family.
Yes.
And if that's spread too thin, like there are just gonna be people that aren't close.
Oh no, yeah.
And so if
100%.
you're like desiring a close relationship with that person, then it's like I'm not gonna be close with someone that I talk to 4 times a year.
Right.
And that's every 3 months. And like you can, like, to me, I'm like, there could easily be people that I talk to every 3 months.
Right.
Just not close to them.
Yeah. No, 100%. But I think like depending on where you're at in life, like that changes, right? Like I have friends in California that I would consider like good friends of mine. That, at one time, you talk to them every day. And then now being away from that, it's like talk to them 4 or 6 times a year, but it's like, say they end up moving to the same location I am, like it's like that can be rekindled,
Sure, it can be rekindled, but they're not close friends anymore.
Right.
I mean?
No, totally. Yeah.
And like it always feels good to reconnect with those people there.
Yeah.
Like you definitely consider them friends. They're not just fleeting acquaintances. But like fact is, like, neither of you have the time commitment or, frankly, the space commitment as well. Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah, people have limited resources for sure. Do you feel like this learned trait that you spoke of, do you feel like it was something you learned before college or at college? Or do you think even mostly after college?
I think I mostly learned it through working.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of pushing aspects before college when I was interning at a church. That internship stretched me in a lot of different ways that, like,
for sure,
I didn't enjoy. Like, I just don't really enjoy church culture. So that like upfront fakiness, like I hated so much growing up.
Even at the time, right? You're like,
you're
almost forcing yourself to like it at the time.
You're forcing yourself to do it because other people around you like it and expect it.
Yeah, you feel like you should.
So you do it, and then so that's like part of it. But I think most of where I learned to be genuine about it was at work. Because I think like one of the concepts that Ayn Rand has is like this idea of selfishness. Like everyone should live more selfishly, because if everyone is pursuing their desires, things like part of living a good life is reciprocation. So, and part of that is like, in her words, selfish. Like I think it's her. I think she uses selfish to be edgy and
no, yeah, it's an attention getter for sure.
Yeah, it's an attention
absolutely
thing. But I think like to put it in the context of work, it's like this actually helps me in my career and helps my clients. Like to be like, so It's like I should be motivated for my own. I should just be self-motivated because this helps me. Like this helps my career. This helps me further my career, further my skills, as well as like it's just going to help my clients at the end of the day.
No, absolutely. Well, and even like in your personal life, I feel like if you're looking out for your best interests, and that's obviously not to say that you're not caring about others, along the way, but if you're looking out for your best interest, like you're going to inevitably attract similar people, with similar values and interests. And so like, by looking out for yourself, you can like make friends that way, honestly.
You have everything to gain from putting yourself out there and nothing to lose.
Well, honestly,
right?
Yeah, honestly.
Like it just the math of it, right? Like you're never going to lose anything. Like even if you embarrass yourself, it's still like a learning experience or like an experience of like, you embarrass yourself because the person that you put yourself out there for like fucking sucks.
Right.
But like you still gained knowledge that this isn't someone that I should value. It's still like that's still a good experience or a valuable experience to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and it's like you can see, like, sure, yes, everyone's different, but there's definitely a lot of similarities across the boards. And so it's like, you know, when you have one of those experiences where you embarrass yourself by, you know, putting yourself next to someone where you're like, ooh, yeah, nope, they're not for me. Like, you can, in the future, a lot more easily pick out those traits in someone else.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I know people hate generalities, but I think
it's the same thing as cliches, right?
Yeah.
Like they're cliches for a reason because they're common.
Well, and it's just like my point was going to be culture is a big deal, and like and cultures and subcultures and everything like so when you put yourself out there, you get to know cultures very well, I think.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely.
And it's beneficial. It's for you to compartmentalize and organize your life around understanding which cultures you feel like you belong to and you don't belong to. There's like this is one of the reasons why we're making a concerted effort to have the freedom to live in a couple different places between like Washington and Florida, is because we really value, and it's not just Florida, but like I've found that I really value and treasure East Coast culture in a lot of ways than over the West Coast culture. I love the West Coast life and vibe. I think, like, from my experience, the West Coast is generally like cleaner, and it has like a lot of the good parts of hipster quality. Like we have a lot of like craft coffee and cocktails and like artsy and like and like we have a lot of the like what I would say is like more my style of art, where it's like cleaner art and not just like street trash art and like way too elevated like fucking high class New York art where it's like yo, it's just a white canvas. Like, why is everyone fucking staring at it, right? Like
100%.
It's I think the Northwest has a lot of like amazing things, but like for me, like I've always felt more at home interacting with like more East Coast style attitudes. Like it's like I'm much more abrasive and confrontational, and with that, not like super like, I don't know. You walk in the streets of Seattle and like no one says hi to each other. You go to a bar and like no one's friendly.
It's probably why we get along so much, honestly. Like, because you really have more of that, you know, Midwest, East Coast mentality about like how you carry yourself in general.
So it's weird, like, but that helps you like if you put yourself out there, you get to learn that about culture. Like, these people I feel like I belong more with, you know.
Speaking of people staring at blank white canvases, did you ever see that video of that dude who just put reading glasses in the floor in an art museum and people just like stand around it like it's a piece, and he like picks them up. He's like, oh, I lost these. Thanks. It's so great. That's like the epitome of like, what the fuck is wrong with people?
You guys have way too much money.
No shit. That's really what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's some LA, New York bullshit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because nobody else has the time to just fucking stand there and stare at fucking pair of glasses.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was a person in New York. I can't remember the podcast I was listening to. But I think it was in New York. And the art exhibit was literally this artist just sitting in a chair in a museum. Because it was like, the take was like, oh, the art's from the artist, not the actual art they produce. Like, that's the whole meaning behind it. And like, people would come up and like look at her as an exhibit.
That's like the Shia LaBeouf thing Do you remember that where
Yes,
he like sat in a chair or something? He just like people would like pay to just like go scream at him or something like that.
Yeah,
Like what the fuck?
but that's funny because like the art to me that the art comes from like the videos around it and stuff like right, but like, and it's Shia LaBeouf, so it's not like no one takes him seriously.
It's all he's on another level first off, and I feel like everything he does is like a slight marketing troll anyways.
You think it's a combination of like troll and like people like to troll him, so it just and it just like escalates. So the escalation is like entertainment.
Oh no, absolutely. He was on an episode of Hot Ones, and I was surprised on how good it was. So he was like, you could tell like this guy's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like he's not like completely gone like everybody kind of perceives him. Like, you know, he was asking about some like the weird shit he did, like the rando like commercial video where he's just like sitting and clapping alone in the theater, or just like the "just do it" shit. And he's like, yeah. I mean, he's like, everyone was talking about that. Like, it worked.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
So yeah, so it's like he's like, sure, he's weird, he's a weird dude, like don't get me wrong, but I'm like, he's not like a fucking idiot, and he has people working for him that are absolutely not fucking idiots. So
yeah, I think like that whole like famous Hollywood type culture is very interesting because
yeah,
on a certain level, you're right, like very much like Shia LaBeouf, that they're not idiots.
Right.
You know, some of them 100% are.
Sure.
But that's the thing is like the ones that are also have an insane amount of money to where they can do just stupid shit. And like people will like give them money for doing just asinine shit. Like there's just so much money involved that it's like it doesn't matter.
Well, and I would even, to an extent, like, say that that's a form of intelligence, right? Like, they still have to have, like, the decision-making skills of being like, I'm not going to do this is dumb. And they're like, I am going to do this is dumb. And everyone's going to, like, react to this and watch this. I don't
agree.
You don't think everything's intentional?
No, I don't think everything's intentional. I definitely think some things are intentional, but I do think
fair. That's fair.
I do think if you have enough money, so like take the Will Smith at the Oscars thing.
Right.
I probably lean towards that's intentional. However, I do see a scenario where Will Smith has so much money that there is nothing that grounds him to reality.
Mm-hmm.
Like you think of like the Jeffrey Epstein thing, right? Like how did that happen? How was so many people involved? I mean, guess what? No one's been arrested or anything. Like so you think of like, you know, these people are above the law.
Right.
They've infinite resources.
Yeah.
They're all of their lives they've spent playing fake people.
Yeah.
What grounds them to reality? And then they do something that's like fucking absurd to us. And it's like that. Yeah, it is absurd because they don't live in our reality.
Yeah. And I know you choose that word absurd specifically because we've talked about this too, where, you know, we talk about that entire fiasco, if you will. And, you know, it gets brought up like, wow, like that's so weird. And you're like, no, it's not weird. That's their normal.
Yeah, that's their normal.
That is their normal. Like there's like when shit like that happens, they're not like, oh my God. They're like, oh, of course. Like,
no.
And that's kind of like how we really should look at it, is like, oh, of course that would happen because
if someone at one of your work meetings went up and slapped the CEO on the face, like people wouldn't be like weirded out. Like there would be like uproar. It'd be like weird. Like it would be like, what the fuck just happened? Like everyone go home. Like
right,
we're done. Right.
That was weird.
It was just kind of like I mean, I didn't watch the Oscars or whatever, but like from the clips I saw, it was kind of just like everyone's like, okay, and then they moved on.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like, no, there's no moving on.
Yeah. No, honestly. Yeah, no, there's no moving on from that. Like that's like you said, like things would just stop immediately. Like
things would stop. Security would escort that person out. They wouldn't be allowed in, and the
meeting would not continue. It'd be like, we're gonna reschedule the rest of this.
So I don't know if he got escorted
later.
out, but I don't think he did. I feel like
no, he sat there and then claimed his Oscar after that.
Like, no, you're out, you're done, right?
You like. Like, is slapping somebody really that big of a deal? No. Is that technically physical assault? Yes. That was broadcasted on national television, nonetheless. You know,
but even the fact that it went on, he went to claim an Oscar afterward. Like that shows how like different the reality is.
Yeah. Nobody thought to. So, Will Smith is gonna win one of these later on in the night. Like, let's not do that.
No, yeah, like what happens is security escorts this out, and the producer makes anyone who's done producing has made on the fly decisions like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe not to that extreme, but like I've had to make production decisions on that, like from like stage working and stuff. Like it just is what it is. Like,
exactly.
Sometimes things just don't work or plans change, or like, you know, I mean, you as a musician, especially at churches, like a pastor will just like call you to stage to play music for you thought 2 minutes and now you're here 25 minutes later.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like, so I know you only played fast songs tonight, but I need you to come up here and play a slow song. It's like, well, I guess we all got to get on the same page really quick here now. So it is what it is. Yeah, no, it's all about just like, it's like acting now, thinking later, really.
Well, and like
and adapting.
But that's my point. Is all those people are like very professional, very high scaled, very like paid well, production people, and like they can't move on from. They can't just take out Will Smith's Oscar.
Yeah, well, and what's funny too is I don't know. Well, so it's twofold. I don't know. They were talking about like, oh, we might, revoke his Oscar. So first off, not in defense of Will Smith, but I'm like, it's in his house. You just gonna break down his doors and take it
after the fact, like you still let him receive it.
Yes, I'm like, it's his property now. If you want to take away the title of him winning an Oscar, sure, but like the man's gonna keep the trophy. Like it's his now.
Well, also I would say like if you want to revoke it, and I like that's the thing is because it's their because they live on a different reality, and it wasn't like. We can't comprehend what most of their reactions were.
Right.
And they gave him the Oscar. It looks really weird to go back and take it away.
Yeah.
Because a normal, sane society would have escorted him out and not given it to him
to begin with. Right.
And then, like, afterwards, you decide, do we still give it to him? Because it was an awarded thing, or do we not just give it to him?
Because then, if you revoke it after the fact, then you're admitting that you fucked up.
Yeah,
and they don't like to do that. So, I can't imagine they will take that from him.
No, I certainly
and
won't. It'll be.
I just can't see it happening.
They'll say, we're considering it, and then everyone will forget about it, which, I mean, it's already past conversation.
Honestly.
Media things last 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't see memes anymore.
And then, by the time next year rolls around, Oscars come up, maybe he's back in conversation. They're going to be like, what happened to Will Smith? And Will Smith's going to make an appearance. And he's going to be like, I went to rehab, I went to therapy and all this stuff. And they're like, we're so happy that you came out of it. And then it's just like, you're never going to hear about it. Like, it's just done.
I see two things happening at next year's. He either will have to make a public apology at the Oscars, or he's not invited.
What if he hosts it?
That would be based. That would be fucking sick. That would be the best thing they ever did. That'd be insane.
That'd be the second best thing they ever did.
Sure.
The first best thing they ever did would be inviting Ricky Gervais back.
True. Oh my God. Yeah, man. I can't. I mean, that kind of shows you, right, why they didn't kick Will Smith out, because they could have stopped Ricky Gervais.
I don't think they could have stopped him in any matter, but there was zero rebuke.
Right. That's true too.
People were angry at the time and they're kind of cringe laughing and stuff. But the thing is, they're like, what do we say? He's right.
Exactly. Yeah. There was no public statement being like, oh man, we're so sorry this happened. This does not reflect the views of. There was none of that.
No.
It was just whoa, that was crazy, right? Yeah. Crazy awesome.
Who greenlit this guy? They're like, we're gonna review everyone's speech from now on.
But everyone fucking loved it because, like you said, it was all true.
Yeah.
So
no, all of the normal people loved it.
Yes. Right. Yeah, man. Ricky's one of a kind. I appreciate
good times.
That. I feel like it's because he's English.
So let's circle back to this beer.
That's probably a good idea.
I think we still got plenty to talk about if we want to.
I think,
but I do want to talk about this beer.
Yeah.
Now that we're on our second one.
Yep.
I will say, just right out of the gate, it's usually something I say for later. Much better beer to smink.
Ooh, I think that's fair.
The aromas are the aroma of this beer is very enticing, especially with those Citra and Citra Cryo. You got a delicious hop forward smell.
No, I'm 100% with you. And that was the first time I tried it. It was upon opening the can, it exploded out of it, even just the mouthing of the can. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you just wait. We got dank dust coming soon.
Uh-oh.
And by soon, I mean months from now, probably.
Probably at this rate. So we skipped over look. How does it look?
So one of the aspects of cold IPAs is that they're crystal clear.
Yes.
And slightly yellowish, which is also true, mimicking that of a lager. The head sticks around, I will say that.
Yeah.
It's got a good carb to it, even in the look. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Nailed it. I feel like it's not as common. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like 5-6 years ago, I had more beers with nice fluffy heads that stuck around. And I feel like I don't get as much of those lately.
So I don't know much of the science behind it, but I will say one of the big things that has changed is more beers are canned.
That's a good point.
I wonder if that has something to do with it.
That's a good point. I don't know.
Because the carbonation is going to hold better. It's going to stay fresher. I wonder if, that's part of it.
Yeah. That's something to think about. I don't know. That's interesting. So smell, you kind of touched on, you really just, it's a beautiful, beautiful smink. You got a Citra, explosion of hoppy goodness. You added, it's a bit earthy in the smells as well. 100% with you there.
So Centennial coming out.
Yeah, wow, that's so pleasant.
I will say, I'm surprised at how, and I think it's probably the earthiness that's grounding it a little bit, but I'm surprised at the lack of just orange in your face.
I was actually about to comment the exact same thing. I was about to say that it smells so much more earthy and bitter than it tastes. Its taste is so much more juicier and fruitier than the smell. You think you're going to get into something super bitter here.
Which might be why I like the smink, is because it helps.
Yeah, balance that out more.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally with you. Yeah. So, whoa, what the fuck did I just do? I'm adding something to not where I wanted. All right. Anything else in the smell for you?
I don't think so.
All right. Taste.
I mean, juicy.
Yeah, quite juicy. Citrus.
Yeah, I've been in between a lot of words on this one.
Yeah.
My initial reaction would be tropical, but I don't think that's true.
I also was initially tropical, but I don't think it is either.
Because it's just not tangy. It's juicy, but not tangy. So that's where it's like, oh, it's not like an orange or like a tangerine or like you want to pair it to an orange fruit, but it doesn't have that tang. But it's not like melony or pineapple. It doesn't have the acidic nature of a tropical.
I want to say pineapple, but it's not.
It's not.
It's like almost. I really think you can kind of just say exclusively orange.
Yeah,
like in taste.
Maybe like a orange grapefruit kind of vibe because it's got that like watery bitterness a little bit, toned down orange kind of thing. Maybe like a sweet grapefruit is probably like.
Okay.
You put sugar on a grapefruit. I don't know. Orange is hard for me because it is pretty acidic, and it just doesn't have that bite.
I'm gonna say a sweet grapefruit, but heavy-handed on the orange. If that,
sure,
like, it's not a thing, but it's kind of where we're at.
You know, there's probably a brand of orange that's not very acidic and not very tangy that someone's like, duh, it's this.
You fucking you never had an Alaskan tricep orange?
I probably have, honestly, but like
I don't like eating oranges, so I definitely have not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I'm not in 6-year-old soccer league anymore, so.
But apparently half of fucking Tacoma is because I swear to God, every time I fucking walk anywhere, I see orange peels just laying around. I'm
weird.
Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Yeah, I don't know. I think on taste, I feel like I'm gonna throw hoppy in there. I'm gonna throw Lil Hoppy. Not a lot, but it's not like it's not there. I feel like we're being a little jaded to it because of how like juicy it is too.
It's just covering up over the bitterness, but it is
hoppy. It is hoppy. And again, especially like to your point, when you go for the smink, it definitely helps balance it out more, and you get more of that hoppy, earthy bitterness. So, feel.
I said soft.
You said soft. Any specificities on that, or
no?
Just soft? Okay.
Yeah.
Not furry, not fluffy.
Just soft.
Just soft.
It's more of an attitude than it is a feel thing to me, I think.
I'm going to literally write that because it's pretty accurate.
So, yeah, I think maybe another, I don't know how to word it, but it like, it's just soft.
It's soft. I don't want to say anything other than that. I think that kind of encapsulates it all. Don't even explain it.
It's not crisp.
No, it's not. It's not super carved.
It's not dry.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like a brute where it's like dry.
It's not milkshake thick.
No, it's not double IPA sticky.
It's just kind of soft.
Just soft. I'm with you, 100%.
So
I'm moving on.
Great.
Yeah,
happy to
go buy Baxter from Fremont, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah,
really is what it is. Critiques. I look with the same critique here.
My biggest critique is that as a cold IPA headed towards the lager realm, you got to be a crisp boy.
Yep.
Got to be a crispy boy, and it's not. Frankly, like I'm not saying it's not bad. I do kind of see the lager tones in it. Like some of that body I do see, like that's one thing we haven't touched on. I don't know where really it could be feel, it could be taste. There is that earthiness, that flaked corn. I do see it in there. I really do.
I'm gonna call it a bready lager feel. That's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, but the breadiness is not the taste.
That's right. That's what I said. Bready lager feel.
Yeah,
is what I'm gonna call that.
So I see where it's at.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it just is overwhelmed by the juice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just passes right over it like a fucking wave. And like, if I'm drinking a cold IPA now that I know what they are, and now that we've had a couple, I'm like, it's not quite it. Like, not like if I'm getting it for a cold IPA,
sure,
it's not really what I'm wanting.
I think we both want slightly less juicy sweet. We want the lager to shine through, which will help, like you said, make it a little more crisp.
Go to our 7 Seas Pints. There's a cold IPA review that we did there. Pints is the playlist on YouTube. It's like 6 or 7 minutes. It's quick at the brewery.
Yeah.
One and done. Kind of thing. No commentary, nothing like that. Good series, by the way, if you want to look at it. But to me, like, after reading through more about what the cold IPAs is, and like, we really enjoyed that cold IPA. Like, now that I understand it a little bit more, I'm like, I think I could throw down, like, because I think we even commented like light and crisp, and like now it's like, oh, this is what it is. That's why. Yeah. Maybe that's not the perfect example of a cold IPA. I don't know. I haven't had enough, but I think that was much more true to what I would perceive the style to be in like a perfect world than this.
No, I 100% agree. Yeah, I think this one, it's kind of hard because this one really sits in a weird category where it's like, it's not a normal IPA, like a standard West Coast IPA. It's not really like a Northwest malty kind of amber feel IPA. Certainly not like a super juicy hazy boy, because like it is, in my mother's words, pretty pale.
It kind of makes me think of a double IPA that was turned into a lager.
Yeah. No, it like,
it has that like malty juice to it.
Yeah. I think it's named aptly. Go figure, because it's the category of beer that it is. I think they just didn't quite hit the mark. I like them like putting a different spin on it.
As the TikTokers say, they did not understand the assignment.
As they regretfully say that. Yeah. So people will say things. But it's not a bad beer, like we said. Like, I would buy this again. I do like this beer. But I feel all I think we both feel like is it just could be done a little bit better. I like where their head's at, trying to like change things up a little bit with it. But yeah. Any more thoughts on your end other than this is a smink boy?
Smink boy for sure.
Yeah.
It helps balance out the beer.
Definitely.
I'm trying to think of what's the best. And maybe you already answered this. What's the best place to have this beer? You mentioned playing Night of Video Games. Good beer for that. I do agree. I think that's a good spot.
I think it is too. Maybe not like a heavy dexterity
and you know
taxing game, but
you know what? I think you're on the right page. I will add another scenario to you.
Yeah.
It's be good. Like if you're out night with the boys playing some board games.
Ooh, this is a really
great board game.
This is a great board game beer. 100%. That I'm going all in on that one.
Because like sometimes when you play board games, you slam a little bit too many, or they're a little too heavy. I think this is a good like fucking medium, chilling out, having a beer with the boys kind of thing.
Yeah, have a few of these. You'll feel great, but you won't be like trashed.
And you're not rushing through them because it's got enough body and enough like juice where you're just chilling.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times, maybe other people are different, but I feel like we're kind of on, like everyone's kind of on a similar wavelength where like the heavier feel and like the sweeter it is, it takes you a little bit longer to get through it.
And with this only being a 7% instead of an 8 or 9 that you typically get with it.
Yeah.
Plus not feeling like you have to like suck down some water after drinking a double IPA. Like,
right.
I think this is a pretty solid go-to for that.
No, this sits at a really great spot for that. Yeah, no, I think super fucking solid board game beer. I'm very happy with that perception of it. So, good call. The hardest part, as always.
I've been trying not to look at it because I don't know where to put it at all.
No, I'm honestly the same boat because I'm like, there's so many factors with it. So it's like, I really like this beer. Did it nail the style very well? Not perfectly, I wouldn't say. You know, is this a bad beer? No, by no means. I think even objectively, it's not even a bad beer. So,
I'm good. I said I wasn't good, but I'm good.
I am also good. 3, 2, 1.
3.75.
All right, same category. I was going great.
I'm hard great.
Yeah, you're hard great. Like top end of that B category. We're both thinking that it's great. The flavors don't hit like quite perfect to make it in A. You know, for example, not hoppy enough. And I think we both can just completely agree on that. Like this one is like a really solid beer. It's just slightly too juicy and not crisp enough. But it's
and I want to make my point because it's a little bit different than yours.
Yeah.
It's got a ways to go before it's an A.
No, yes, that is fair. Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
Like it's 75% of the way there to an A is another way to put it.
Yeah.
You still got another 25%, which is a big mountain to climb to get into that top category. Like
yeah, we have our intervals are perfectly spaced, but at the same time, like just mentally, like there's a bit of a curve, you know?
Sure.
Like to get into
there really is.
Yeah, to even get in that top 10, you know, top 20%, right? Top 20%. We're not even talking 25. Only 5 more percent. Even that top 20% is like still, we're being very nitpicky at that point. So, but great beer. Will buy again.
Yeah, I mean,
I fully intend to buy this beer again.
I will say, I think west side of Washington.
Yeah.
Best breweries are Fremont and Georgetown.
Yep.
Am I missing anyone that you can think of? Like like I like a lot of breweries, but like
yeah, I'm sorry to everybody else, but that is that's the standard to me.
I think
you know what?
I was gonna say I would put E9 on there, but I don't think I would.
No,
E9's execution, like I love a lot of E9's beers. Their execution, as far as a brewery that you don't like go to often, it's not great.
You know what it is I think they're the reason I like them is to their demise is they experiment too much.
E9,
yes,
I think they experiment too much and they don't ship enough. As in like
yes.
I think E9 would do really well, even if it wasn't at their tap room, to have like consistent beer series. Like I think Bale Breaker does it perfectly. Like Bale Breaker experiments a lot.
Yeah,
but like I can always go to the store and find Leota May.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, Bale Breaker does it perfectly. You go to their tap room, like I don't know, 10, 15 beers there, and you're like, you haven't even heard of
never
like
seen
75% of them. Yeah. It's their core series that ships out everywhere, and that's a good, like you could tell that they have really put in the work for those core series beers.
Yeah.
I think E9 considers some of their beers core series, but it's like they're not, because you see different beers. I see a different beer than at
They're like that. They're like that hipster chick that you get to like fuck every now and then, and you have a really good time, but like you're not gonna
date her.
Like you're not even allowed to date her. Like, even if you wanted to. Like,
all of your friends are like, dude, have all the fun you want, but you're not dating her.
She's not gonna let you date her.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she's not gonna let you date her. Your friends aren't gonna let you date her.
You can't bring her home to mom. Like,
it's just not gonna happen.
But you have a good time.
You have a good time.
Yeah.
Oh. No, man. Tacoma Boys and Whole Foods, I find different E9 beers at. And I'm like, what?
Well, and then you think, how old are these?
Yes, especially Tacoma Boys. They're rough. I love Tacoma Boys. I don't mean to shit on Tacoma Boys. You... For what you are, you almost have too good of a beer selection. It's like the pint places, you know.
Yeah, I think Tacoma Boys has a bit of an identity crisis on who their market is the problem.
I think you're totally right.
Like, I think they need to get rid of all of their wine.
Oh, yeah. They're like, limit the, 3 aisles, both sides of wine to like one side of one aisle to wine. And
have some like better selection.
Yeah.
Like have some good wines in that one area.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one aisle, one white wine side, one red wine side. Side, and like it's a better selection. And then the other, like, I think the other thing is like, if I want a good beer selection, and I'm going to go all the way to Tacoma Boys, because it is out of the way from everything, by the way.
Pretty much.
There's no, like, close places that, like, there's no residential housing in that area, really.
You are making a pit stop off the 16.
6th Ave, but, like, it's out there.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I want to go all the way out there, it's like, why not go to Total Wine, which has a better beer selection, and I get liquor. So it's like, you limit your wine selection, put some good liquor, like a Met Market style liquor, and then I'm like, this is my one-stop shop.
Especially with and that's kind of funny too, right? Because there's also Tacoma Boys in Puyallup area, right?
There's an H&L in Lakewood area for sure.
There's another Tacoma Boys.
There is. I don't know where it's at.
I feel like it's Puyallup area, and that's where one of the closest Total Wines was. And now we also have a Total Wine in Tacoma. There's no reason to have the wine selection they do at this point.
No, not at all. Like, so I think even Met Market has a better selection than Tacoma Boys. Like, to me, Tacoma Boys has a lot higher quality produce and a lot higher quality meat selection than Met Market. But Met Market has a vastly better selection of produce. In an incredible selection on cheese and salamis and stuff. And then they have liquor as well. I think they have a better wine selection, and they have a fairly comparable beer selection. I think they cycle through their beer a lot faster than Tacoma Boys, which is 100%. Why it's a little bit smaller, but it's fairly comparable. So, like, most days, if I'm not buying meat, I'm like, I'm just going to go to Met Market.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't know. I think there's a little bit of identity refining that Tacoma Boys needs to have.
Tacoma Boys, you're amazing, but do better. So,
and Met Market's like a Whole Foods. Like, I think Whole Foods is basically like,
it's a local Whole Foods.
Yeah. And I could see someone making the same market for Whole Foods over Tacoma Boys. Like, Whole Foods has like, and they got their meals. I think they have liquor, right?
Yes.
Liquor, they have a decent beer selection, decent wine selection, decent meat selection even. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yep. Totally agree.
I don't know.
All that to say, like, comment, subscribe, do any fucking shit on YouTube that you feel like doing.
Go see the Pints.
Go see Pints. Yeah.
Cold IPA.
17 cold IPA. Pints playlist in general. We like that shit. It's good local Tacoma stuff for the most part. We get around every here and there to different restaurants or a little bit outside of the Tacoma area for some places. But
We
they're
didn't
real
do
short.
any Holy Club filming, did we?
We really fucked that one up. Yeah, we intended it, and then we got really fucking far gone. So here we are. Maybe next time. Probably not. No, next time we will, because it's like a beer thing actually. So we'll have to do that.
Maybe.
So, I have to pee so bad.
So, see ya in the next episode.
Adios.